Hey guys, it's Kevin in the Murphy for you guys. I'm reviewing. This is a movie that I was looking forward to, but at the same time was very skeptical about, and that is the new Netflix film, Irreplaceable You. And what Irreplaceable You is essentially about is we center on this couple, Abby and Sam, and in the very beginning of the film, we learn that Abby has actually died of this terminal cancer, and we then cut back to the present, where basically she now is, diagnosed with this disease, and basically, she doesn't know how long she has left, so she decides to actually set up Sam with a new love to take care of him, so that way he does have someone on his own. But obviously this isn't the easiest thing to do because Sam hasn't had a lot of experience and very good luck when it comes to dating and things like that, and that's really all I'm going to say. So, Irreplaceable You in general, I was, like I said, very 50-50 when it comes to this film. Any Netflix film now, I'm very 50-50 about, because usually the trailers look really good and then it really disappoints me, and I was hoping that this one would not be like that. Like, this one could actually be a very well done film. I was really hoping I would enjoy this one overall. And while I do think that this isn't at all a bad movie, it is once again a very mediocre Netflix film. There is a lot of stuff about this movie that I do definitely like. There are some things I do enjoy about this movie, but in general, like I said, there are a lot of things that really do bring it down. But we're just getting into it right now, starting off with the cast. Without a doubt, that is one of the best things about this movie. In fact, it probably is the best thing about this film because the cast here really does bring it. They all really do a great job here, especially Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who, coming off the heels of Cloverfield Paradox, gives another really solid performance as Abby. I really did like her character here. What I really love about Abby as a character is that she isn't this selfish woman. She's not someone who she's trying to do all these things for herself. She's trying to spend all this time, like on her bucket list or whatever. No, she's spending all this time in trying to find Sam a love interest and try to find him a girlfriend and someone to settle down with. And I really did like how selfless of a character she really is. I think she's very likable in the role. She definitely does have a lot of scenes I found very entertaining. And once again, I can really see her becoming a very successful actress. She's got a lot of movies on her way. Very soon she's going to be in A Wrinkle in Time, I believe. And she really is fantastic here. I'm very interested in seeing really where she's going to go after this film. I think she is a fantastic actress for sure, and once again, very much impressed me here. And then Michael Huisman as Sam. I will admit he's not amazing in this movie. He doesn't do the best job of covering up his accent because he, of course, isn't an American similar to Gugu, but she does a much better job than I think Michael Huisman did. But he does do a good job in this role. He's kind of the awkward, boyfriend who he really doesn't want to lose Abby, and he's trying to do all he can to keep her, but she wants to be selfless and find someone else for him. And I did think these two actually had very believable chemistry. You do really care about them overall. You like their romance, and even when this film does go into some really cheesy directions, which we'll talk about in the writing, I thought their chemistry really did save it overall. I did think they had very good chemistry here, and I thought overall, definitely, that was one of the best parts of this movie for sure. And then everyone else here I thought was pretty solid. Christopher Walken, I really liked in this movie. He is this other terminal cancer patient that Abby does meet, and they have a really nice relationship. I really like getting into it. There's some really good scenes between these two. The friendship that they formed is one of the best parts of this movie for sure. Kate McKinnon, I'm going to be honest with you, I did not like her in this movie. I found her to be very annoying. I found her to be very over the top. They try to make her like the comedic relief, and it just does not really work. I was not a fan of her at all, and I usually do like Kate McKinnon, but the role she played here, I was not really a fan of. Steve Coogan's good here. Timothy Simmons, everyone is pretty solid, minus Kate McKinnon, who, like I said, I really wasn't a fan of, and like I said, I think the acting easily is the best thing about this film for sure. Now let's get to the directing and the writing, because this is where we get to the stuff that really does take a nosedive here. Right off the bat, the tone of this movie, this film is extremely cheesy, and at first it's like unbearably cheesy. Like you have this opening narration, and we'll get to that when we get to the writing, but the tone here, it's just a very cheesy, very generic romantic film. You've seen it a lot of times before. There really isn't anything that different about it. I will admit there were some points that actually did make me laugh. I thought there was some good comedy in the film, particularly from Walken or something that like Gugu would say. I thought they did have some good comedy there. Anything with Kate McKinnon really falls flat, though. I will definitely say that. But the dramatic stuff does actually work surprisingly well. When the movie does try to get very dark and realistic, it works really well for them. But again, I think that's attributed less to how the film executes it and more of how great the chemistry between these actors are. I think overall they worked very well together, and that is something that, like I said, really did impress me here. We're going to get to the writing, though, because the writing easily is the weakest part of this film. The writing here, there's really nothing all that different about it. Even though the plot, I do like the plot. I like that she is trying to get him to move on. She's trying to get him this other girlfriend, but it just doesn't really go anywhere all that interesting. You would think this would result in her trying to find him a love interest, and they do that, but I feel like the movie meanders a lot. The movie focuses a lot on her trying to, figure out what she wants to do in the last few moments of her life, and her and Sam having these relationship problems, and the conflicts they get into, they're not really all that interesting. I really did not find them anything that compelling or anything for me to really latch on to. But also, there are a lot of scenes with her in this support group, with her trying to bond with all these other patients, and these scenes really drag. They're just not very interesting. None of the characters really do stick out, minus like Christopher Walken, and I just really was kind of bored when it came to these support group scenes. I really was not into them at all. There's way too many of them in the film, and the film really is littered when it comes to them. And like I said, the film is extremely cheesy, and it starts off like really unbearably cheesy. The first scene of the film, we literally find out that she died. I'm not joking. The movie starts and you know immediately that she's dead from this disease, and as good as it is where, you know that she's on this ticking clock, they really milk this concept of, oh, she's gonna die. Oh, she's gonna die. Like, they foreshadow it so much in the film, and it honestly does get really annoying after a certain point. And by telling us that she did die, it undercuts a lot of the drama, because you know she's on a ticking clock. You know that she is going to die. But I felt like if they didn't tell us up front that she's already dead, it would have given us a little more suspense. Like, is there hope that she can somehow overcome this, Is there a way that she can go on from this, Is this how long is this really gonna last? Is there a way to overcome it? I mean, there's just, that question is never really given in this movie, because we already know that this does kill her and that she doesn't come back from this. And again, I just felt it did undercut a lot of the drama there. I will say the film does do a good job in getting into your head and thinking, hey, if I, was in the last few moments of my life, what would I really do? They do actually do some creative stuff there, but again, it's just not really anything that interesting. Like, there is a scene between her and Christopher Walken where he shows her how to eat, these like cheese doodles, because she's never eaten them before and she decides to try them for the first time, and it's a really cute scene. But I wanted more stuff like that. I wanted more stuff of her doing things she hasn't really done before, and it just wasn't, like I said, really all that interesting. They didn't really dive into anything that really did compel me, and I was kind of bored when it came to her scenes in the film. So yeah, I don't think they really went anywhere all that interesting within. That did definitely disappoint me. However, I will say the way they do handle her death is extremely well handled. I thought they handled it very well. It was very raw. It was very realistic. And for a film that is so overtly cheesy, which, like I said, the dialogue here really isn't too good. It's very, very lifetimey at points. And if it wasn't for the actors, I think it could be honestly pretty unbearable. But the actors really do save it overall. But the ending, it actually does get pretty dark, and they go into some really raw territory that I really was not expecting, I have to say. I was expecting a very sort of standard, very over-the-top ending, and they really didn't do that. They showed the finality. They showed that there isn't really any coming back from this, and they show how the characters do overcome it. So I did think that overall was very well handled. I really did love the ending of this film. I thought it was very satisfying, and I wish the whole film was that raw. I wish the whole film was that realistic, because they showed that when they tried to do something like that, it actually worked very well for them. So I was impressed with that overall. The cinematography here is honestly really great. Just like any Netflix film, the cinematography here is really, well, if it's not The Babysitter, at least the cinematography here is definitely really great. I really did enjoy cinematography. The score is extremely cheesy. It's very emotionally manipulative, and I really wasn't a fan of it. The editing in this film, the film started off at first, and I really was enjoying it. Like, the first act of this film I did think was pretty solid, but the second act really does drag on. I thought there were a lot of scenes that felt very repetitive. There were a lot of storylines that I just did not care about. Steve Coogan and Timothy Simmons' character, I did not care about either of them. I did not find either of their characters all that interesting, and again, there just really wasn't anyone that stuck out to me there. The film, like I said, does take this very daring direction, one that I have not told you guys about, that I really wasn't expecting, but again, I did think was actually handled pretty well, and they do handle the topic of death well here. It's just, in general, this is a very mediocre film. It's very forgettable. It's nothing that I'm really going to remember. It didn't infuriate me per se. It's got some really great actors overall, and there are some scenes I genuinely really did enjoy, but just as a whole, Irreplaceable You is just a very mediocre Netflix film. You've seen this a million times before. It doesn't really do anything that different for the genre. It does have some cool themes here and there, but just in general, it's nothing I'm really going to remember, and I am going to give Irreplaceable You overall a C. So over, guys, my review of Irreplaceable You. Let me know what you guys thought overall. You have seen, left your thoughts on it. Like I said, it's just a very mediocre Netflix film, and I do hope Gugu Mbatha-Raw does do something better, because I do think she has a lot of talent, and I want to see her, you know, lend her talent to a good film, and I'm really hoping that does happen. But that's my review. Hope you guys enjoy. See you guys in my next video, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.